My name is Soji BENN. I'm the CEO and founder of City. At City, we are into infrastructure consultancy. So what we do basically is we design, we do engineering services, and then we also do advisory services in the area of infrastructure, real estate, and environmental projects. So those are the three core disciplines or expertise that where we play our expertise in place. So the topic for today is actually sustainable housing. Still discussing about the strategy for building eco-friendly spaces. Yeah, so we are building eco-friendly spaces, be it office space, be it residential space. It can be a factory you get that you are coming up with. It may be a worship facility, either a church or a mosque. You get so whatever it is, it may be a play area like a football pitch or where children are playing. Maybe a school, maybe a primary, secondary, or tertiary institution. Whatever it is, how do you make it eco-friendly? How do you work in line with the principles of SDGs, the principles of passive design? How do you make it passive? That's another word. How do you make it passive? You get, how do you make it to rely lesser on mechanical culture? You get, how do you make it to rely more on ecology, on the environment, whereby you make use of environmental materials and then you enjoy the nature, what nature has brought to us. Last week, we dealt a lot about green, where we explained the essence why people have green. Apart from the color that everything is looking green, there are biological facts, there are psychological the need for the greenery that we have around us. So we'll just make a step further by discussing the eco-friendly. There also a little bit about the introduction of the eco-friendly space. Eco-friendly space gives room for habitation of other living creatures you get. So eco-friendly could also involve you allowing animals to live, you get allowing flies around, allowing birds and all this. Everybody should live on their own, and you live on your own. You get, so everybody's fine. Actually, the water bodies, allowing the water bodies to maintain their course, the flow at which they are flowing. So let's say, for instance, you have a project and there's a water body passing through your site. You don't need to block or redirect it. You get redirection of water body sometimes reduces the velocity at which it flows, and it will affect something somewhere. It may not be your site, but whatever it has been serving naturally before, it's been distorted, and then there will always be changing in process. So please, let us see as much as possible. We keep to the flow of whatever it is that is existing, and then is it that you do a bridge over it, or you do something over it, and then you make sure that you maintain that same flow. That is one of the. But if you have to divert to an extent, fine, because you also have to please yourself, please whatever project you are working on, and or you want to enhance it and to make it better, you get, which is fine, you get. So but the most important thing is that if there's a flow of water, let there still be a flow of water. If there are trees, we are bringing down trees, don't bring down trees without replanting trees. You can transplant, you can move from here to other places, you get, but let nature speak, you get. So if you have rocks, stones on your site, it's a very good one. Preserve them, do a design that flows with them. First and most important thing is the comfort of the people that will live in that space. That is where sustainability starts from. Sustainability is the human-centered discussion. That is the core. After the human, then after the environment, then the project you want to do. If you take it like that, you realize that it will blend. You get, everything will blend. You respect the human, but that is the boss. That is the major boss you get, and not the human that is funding the project. It is the human that will live in that facility that you get. So then the next thing is the environment. You respect the environment. Then you not talk about, oh, okay, how much do we have? What is the budget supposed to be? Who is funding it? How should we go about this to maintain the joy and the happiness and the comfort of the person that will live there, one, and then to also honor the environment, just making sure that you maximize what the environment has given to us. Yeah, those two things, and then you now that is what we drive you, even what we call value engineering. These are the KPIs that will make sure that you get the best of it. You get, you're trying to cut down budget. That is what we should help it. You are trying to get project approval process. That is what should also influences all those things. You are getting funding, you are pitching to investors. Those are the things that you also inform this, because by the time you talk about environment, you are talking about traffic, you're talking about noise pollution, you're talking about a whole lot of things. You are considering environmental impacts, analysis, you get. So all AIA, all those things are coming together, and then they are formulating your thought process in kind of project that you should deliver. Because we don't deliver projects for today. If you focus on delivering projects for today, how much you make on it, which is what mostly drives today, you realize that in the next few years or next decades to come, the building has gone. It's not standing. It's not fitting what is in vogue, or it doesn't last the test of time. That's what we mean by sustainability, and that's where we got our name, our company name from, Fittecity. It means we are delivering projects that are fit to last, and you get, so to last generations after generations, you get. So once we work on a project, we make sure that we are not designing just for now. We are designing for people, and people that will come after those people, and the people that come after those people that have come after those people, you get. So generations after, you get, we always benefit from this, and the buildings are sustainable. To an extent, you don't need to go and break the bank to maintain the facility, either the building or infrastructure. They should be able to come in a way that, okay, fine, we are building a facility for XY people. What is the maintenance culture of those people? It also matters. You need to understand it. If the maintenance culture of those people are okay, is there a possibility that can change? Which in most cases it's possible. It's just a change in leadership. You get, what if the wrong leadership team on board? Will they still have the same maintenance culture? You get. So like I mentioned last week, that you are building a house for a wealthy person. One day the wealthy person will pass away. Somebody will inherit the facility and if the person is not as wealthy as the current person, can they maintain the facility? If they have to break the facility, the facility is so big and they have to break it into pieces and then try to reduce the number of ownership and increase the number of ownership, or increase the number of occupants, break it into more further structure or something. How easy would that be? That is what sustainability design means. You get. And when you are designing, especially from design stage, you always consider the longevity of this. Why can't we have a house that stands the test of time? For generations, we can still benefit from this. We don't have to go to. I understand the place of vertical housing. Cool. We'll discuss that as well. There we have what we call super block houses. We have different kind of housing system so that will be able to help us. I know definitely that low level housing will not help us for sustainably wise, to an extent, because of the population increase. This contradicts the topic you get, but the point there is that it's still the same thing. If you are planning for the future and you know that the population in this area are definitely increasing over time, there won't be enough land space if we are all going horizontal. So meaning that the future of development is going to be vertical. Then how then do we design a vertical city, vertical homes, or vertical communities, making sure that it is still sustainable? That is where we now have to go to how do we now have the technology of lift system that will be sustainable, that will not require so much to maintain, and people will be able to live their life. You get. So those are the areas at which you balance it. So whatever it is that is coming, I know the advent of technology is going to change a whole lot of things. You get. What we call sustainable now will change when it gets to over time. You get, because so many factors are coming to play. You get, so many factors are coming to play. But if you are still going vertical, you can still have the experience, the horizontal experience, as you are going vertical. That is why you have gardens, you have terraces at every floor. If not every floor, most of the floors, when you are going vertical, you have terraces, you have gardens, you have pools, suspended pools. That is why you have to mix the two together, both the vertical experience because of population density, and the horizontal experience because of sustainability, because of livelihood, how to live, agery, and all those things. Yeah. So I will be continue the conversation with the slide now. If you check the slide, so this is an average house that is eco-friendly. Yeah, the energy starting from the roof, the energy, the roof solar panel, that is a clean energy system is there. There's greenery around you and large windows, you get, so that air can move in. These are basically pictures of how an eco-friendly house or office space should look like. It looks as if you are in the garden. I mentioned that last week. I always make reference to last week and last 2 weeks conversation. You always picture what the Garden of Eden looks like. That is where a man and woman are created to live. You get the Garden of Eden, whatever you can imagine it looking like, where you have water, bodies, you have plants, you have soils, you have all those things natural, and that is the state, or that is the kind of environment that we are supposed to be living in. And you get at the more at which we differ from that state or from that style of architecture, life expectancy begins to reduce. And to maintain the life expectancy, it now requires us spending more money on our health. That's why we now start using pills, medications, a lot of things. Some things that we use drugs for now, a few years ago, or a few decades ago, 20 years ago, even 100 years ago, does not exist. Some diseases does not exist at all. And most diseases that are existing now is because we are beginning to move far away from eco-friendly environments. The kind of air that we breathe in has changed because we are totally, definitely, if you are in a deforested area, definitely the quality of air that you breathe in is different from where there's no deforestation. Definitely, because the green, the plants, we mix, the oxygen we mix, but the elementary science of oxygen and carbon dioxide, I believe we all still remember it. You get that alone gives life to us. The more oxygen you take in, your immune system is getting stronger. You get so when you are living in a gray, I've been using the word gray environment. Gray environment means that it is off green. You just have pavement, interlocked, there are no plants, or there are very limited plants. Everything is just looking neat and solid. But when it is green infrastructure or greenhouse tree, is like what we have in front of. You can look at this interior, you can see how it feels. There's a blend within from the garden to the inner to the house itself. And then even the choice of furniture, they are wood, they are using woods and everything, real wood. So all those things has life in them. They breathe. Even if you have cut a wood house, the nature of the wood itself is something. I believe you should do a lot of study on material. Then plants, you will see that there are many things. I was talking about our gardener yesterday in the office, and we were sharing a lot about the psychology of plants, or what the medicinal effects of odors that plants gives us. We have different kind of plants, different kind of flowers, and their benefits to human. You get there are some that they are just out there on their own, just perceiving them, having them around. It does a lot. There are some that chase away different kind of insects, different kind of animals. You get so they are just doing but they are created to help humans. Yeah, they are created to help humans, actually. Yeah. So living in the States is just a complete. For example, as we grow, as we increase in age, as we are aging, you will notice that we always long for gardens. We look for a cool environment where we can just sit down and just chill. That's why we ask, okay, after working, after retirement, if you see any retirement picture, maybe you check online, you look for retirement pictures, the first thing you see is someone sitting down in the garden or with a white shirt, or cool of the day, with gray hair and just resting, or by the waterside. And that is what we call retirement. Or we hear, relaxation or vacation. The next picture you want to see is someone that is wearing it's wearing a short pants or on a free shirt, and then just chilling by the waterside or just somewhere, cool. You won't probably see a picture of someone in a mechanical environment where there's AC, where everywhere is looking like gray, where everywhere is painted, white or something, or office. You won't see that. You just see the person around nature. You get, because that is where we are supposed to be. If you are designing a retreat center, you have a lot of nature there. You get, then why can't we now create that experience as our daily life? Yet if you say you want to go and renew yourself, you renew yourself around the nature where nature is. You get look at the eagle, eagle at a particular point of the eagle's life, eagle's going to go away and then go and stay somewhere alone. You remove the cork in his mouth and then shed away all his feathers and then have a new experience. Wherever he goes to, look at all the places they go to, they are always like a desert or maybe on a very high mountain where there's nature. You get, they can now come back to wherever louder lives are and everything, and then they always go back. So you get, why can't we have a constant experience of where we are strengthened, of where we are better? You get, I'm seeing this for me is more like a calling for me. Like I just feel like, okay, fine, this is a gospel, this is truth, you get. And I just love to find a way of explaining this over time. You get, like, please let us always create an environment for ourselves where we are healthy. You get, so some of the main things that we struggle at, even at work or performance, managing our families or at home, or managing a relationship. You get, if you live enough around nature, your thinking pattern it's stronger. You get, it's stronger. Yeah, there's a particular stuff that I've come up with when it comes to eco-friendly homes or eco-friendly space. The very first thing is energy efficiency. That's a core you get. So your energy reliance, source of energy reliance is an important matter. That is why we always advise solar panels, renewable. So you try as much and make sure, or make as much as possible to reduce fossil fuel, to go clean as much as possible when it comes to your energy consumption. You get, some of the things that we need energy for. If we design our apartments in a way that you can maximize natural lighting, you can maximize the way at which all the energy usage or what you do, or you manage your time, you realize that you will reduce the use of the traditional energy generation. The other one is healthy indoor environment. That speaks to the picture I showed earlier. The environment itself, you need to make sure that you make it healthy to an extent. Yeah, you have water body, you have plants in your center space, you have a large window that can bring in air, and you make sure that your windows are cross ventilated so that air that are coming in appropriately, the bad air are going out, and they're fresh. There's freshness in the air you get. So you just need to create that environment, and the size of the space. Some people perform better when there's large space. Some people perform when there's moderate space. On tiny spaces, not everybody, you get to welcome. For few people, they can. So the size of the space also matters. The headroom of the space also matters. So you get, then adaptability. How do you adapt? And when you have grown-ups in the particular facility, and you are using the same facility for kids gathering, how do you manage it to make sure that they don't feel like they are thrown into a very large hole or something, or a scary place? You get, so you need to be able to know how you manage the place for them, so that whoever is coming in can easily adapt to the size of the shape of the building. I'll be sharing a few ideas moving forward, and those ideas are critical when we are planning or when we are thinking of eco-friendly space. The very first one is location. And location starts with accessibility. How do you access your site? Because you want to be eco-friendly and you are working in on the island, let's say your office is in Ikoyi, and because you hear this conversation, and then you just feel like, let me go and live around nature, and then you went to buy land in Ekiti, and you want to be coming from Ekiti to Ikoyi every morning. There's a problem. You get, one, there's no train that will bring you on time, and even the stress of waking up very early, even if there's a train, join the train and get into this stress. What you are looking for, you realize that you'll have lost it on the road before you get to where you have it already, but you have lost it. You get, so location matters a lot. The very first thing when it comes to doing an eco-friendly environment is, one, the person that is, that's what I said, the core importance of the highlight of, or the focal point of when it comes to housing is the people that will use the facility. You get the nature of those people. In marketing, they call it the bull's eye. So you profile a particular being, and the being can be described. Is a male, it could be a female, and it could be a younger person, or it could be an older person. Just maybe like 4 or 5 nature or characteristics that you may have, but it's still one person that can come in different form. A man is a man, either male or female. That's what I mean. You get, so you just need to understand that we find this is in this context. That's what we're talking about. So the person that's the bullseye. The person you're talking about has a job. What kind of a job would this business person probably have? You get, so you will have even zone it in the times of affordability. That is why when you're talking about affordability, because affordability is part of sustainability. You get so that was what I was talking about when a wealthy man buys a house and can it be maintained, especially when the property is in a place that there's possibility to have people that are not a high earner, probably a mid earner or a low earner are living and naturally living in, and you are earning a lot of money and you want to buy a land where middle class people are living, and you build a mansion that if you should leave that place, none of the neighbor naturally can maintain the house. That's the problem going somewhere to have in the first place. You get so that is kind of thing I'm talking about. That's where location starts from. Location starts with the nature of the person, the life, the nature or the storyline of the person's lifestyle. The lifestyle is a key when it comes to location. The behavioral pattern of the or the culture of the people in that environment matters a lot. You get so now your school, your schooling, your work matters a lot. If you have a family, how far or how close is the school of your children to the house? That is still affecting location. You get your spouse, other people that are working in your family, where are they going to for their daily living? Perhaps if it's a village, how far is the place from the forest? How far is the place from your farm? How far is the place from the water body? If you're going to fetch water somewhere, or if you're going to do X, Y, Z, you just need to know define. How far is it from the market? You get if it's in a village. How far is it from the market? If it's in a city, a developed community, how far is it from where you express yourself? You get so that is where location comes in. That is one of the factors of location. The social infrastructure around it, which I've mentioned, which are the courts, the primary schools, the medical centers. How close are you to all those things? You get the recreational centers, all these recreational parks, stadiums, and those things. How close? Once you do that, these are things that makes up my life. How close am I to all those things? That is how that is an experience at which we are supposed to create for ourselves. So we don't need to have things too far. We have cases whereby things are far from us, where we have to travel, or probably your nature of the job, you have a, like us, we have to go to a particular site. We pray to have multiple sites in different locations and everything. But by the time you are at your station, you shouldn't stretch. So if you are going too far, meaning that you're actually going on a project, on a mission drive, not a regular thing. Not the traveling should not be a norm. You get that is where it starts from. Then the size. The size of the smaller, the more efficient when it comes to housing, sustainable housing. The smaller, the more efficient you get. So the more you have large space and everything, you realize that the air trap, you are managing a lot beyond what we manage when it comes to housing or facilities that is physical that and we cannot touch the things that we cannot, the psychology part of our building, our spaces, the spatial part. You can't really hold on them. That is where the air flows and everything. And that is what drives our comfort. Okay, I just want a large space. It speaks well to speak this. There's a lot to maintain them. You realize that the provisions that you have made for window, for court, for ventilation is not really enough to solve those things. And then there will still be thermal discomfort in the apartment, then it's not eco-friendly. And you can have all the green around and realizing that there's a certain spot in that room, and maybe that's where you even now put your bed. I realize that I'm not even feeling this space, that everywhere is hot. You understand? So these are the things that you need to consider. You just need to understand that they are, like I said, human, then nature. You get it flows. Once you know the brief, the first thing after you know what you want to do is the human, because it is human-centered business. You get then the next one is the orientation. How do I orientate my building? How do we know what's direction? How do we position the building that the windows will be effective? The winds flows in direction. The sun rises and sets a different direction. So we need to understand how do I flow with the direction of the wind or the side or direction of the sun. You get so that I can be able to have the best use. I can maximize what nature has given to me. And then the fourth one is the layout. How do I lay my building? That this is now my architectural design. How do I position my rooms? How do I move from here to here? How the functional flow, these are important. If you're not the designer, ask your designer. So let him explain to you why must this be this. So the next thing we talk about is clean energy. I've mentioned that earlier. The energy that you create. How are you using solar? Are you running your power? Save them in the battery and then reuse them so that you can be able to save even your money. You get so these are energy. You need to look at energy highly. You get and design the house where so that it doesn't consume so much. You get of your resources, and then water management. Manage your water. You get there's a level of water wastage already. High level of water wastage. You get just running taps, the water running out to the drain. Where are they going? Where are they going? Just running water everywhere. It's flooding somewhere else. Can we make use of all those water and use them for good? Yeah, there's about digestion. You can reuse wastewater and then use them for something. You can make people to plant, use it to flower, to water plants or to do something else. So you can make sure that there's a reuse of water in your apartment. Yeah, then you reclaim the wood. You can pick up natural wood, just reclaim them. There's a beauty, like I said last week. Apart from the fact, no, we have life plants, we have non-life plants, and then people still have them in their environment, the offices and everything. The plant that does not have life, as something is doing, the only job is one is aesthetics, two psychology. You can get a wood and have it in your house. Sometimes the smell alone is medicinal to and some in some cases, depending on the kind of wood that you brought into your house. Those are the things that naturally heals the house, heals the human. You need to do study about nature and then know the right things to bring in. So these are things that you just need to look at and then embrace ourselves individually. Okay, this is how I want to run. This is how I want to do this. This is what you need. These are the KPIs. These are things that you check out when you are giving a license of passive design. Probably a developer in the house, and then you build an apartment, and you want to get a global recognition for sustainability. All these things I mentioned are the things they will check, and then they will get you'll be able to get. And this is what I mentioned. Maybe I think that we are talking about a funding project, housing project in the last month of this quarter. You get so we will tell how we can get passive funding, how we can get investment that are socially driven. Yeah, you get impact investment. There are bonds that there are wallets that fund sustainable projects, sustainable climate driven projects. You get so, and those funds are there. Some of them are even grants. You get, and they have KPIs. So it is from those documents that I'm sharing this. These are things that they will naturally check. Do you have this? Do you have that? How? Because they are after the life of the people. They are after the well-being of the people. Actually when you're now doing it for the low end, that is, I also mentioned when we were starting, I was also talking about the classes of people. Who are you designing for? What kind of environment? Every environment naturally has its own financial description or economic description, rather. And then you use recycled materials. Some people, because the recycled materials have been over flooded, so people just pick anything, turn it anyhow, plastics and everything look ugly. Just feel like, how can I believe in this kind of thing? Or I cannot live in kind of space and everything. There are ways at which they are people that are recycling things and they are looking well. Go to the right places and procure them. Then water. I've spoken about water already. Still, how do you can recycle stuff and then they will be nice. The summary of this is that you reduce wastage. You reduce wastage. You reduce wastage. Yeah. And then green roof, green walls, you can introduce them as well. These are the things that formulate eco-friendliness. You get so that when you are there, you just feel like I am. And I'll always say something like there should always be a take-home at every infrastructure forum, meaning that in your own apartment, in your own house, in your hostel, if you're a student, in your office, wherever you're working, try as much as possible to put an effort into eco-friendliness. Okay, that is where it starts from. It is when it becomes a norm that is how we do things. The developers will start thinking about it because the developers are business driven, and in business, demand comes before supply, and sometimes they they study the way of life of the people that they are selling to, and then they create things for them. They do strategy meetings, and they study the human, how do people necessarily live, what do they want, what is trending and everything, and then they start creating solutions of housing or even whatever it is you are selling. You start suiting it to flow with what you think or what you have perceived or what you know, or even what you need yourself that people usually need. You are trying to meet a need. If the need that people are creating is that they need eco-friendly spaces, you will see that by default, developers will start creating eco-friendly spaces. It's because we ourselves are not even bothered about eco-friendliness. So that is why they won't give because they feel like there's no demand for it. And in business, the word demand and supply is not until when people start putting demand that we need this, you will know that they need it, and then they create it. There are business ideas that are generated from the need, the lack, or the problem that exists, and then they try to solve it. There are things that exist from the fact that there's an idea. Some people are looking to the future and they know that few problems that are not even existing now will still exist, and this is a solution to it in the future. They are called futuristic products, and people just say wow and then they buy into them. Nobody needed them, but when the thing comes and people just accepted it, from using people now realize that oh, I have this problem and this is now working for me. Where they say people in marketing, we say people don't know what they want, but when they see it, they don't deny it. You get so understanding that, you realize that's another level at which developers are working. Just give you what you want, what they think you what they have studied, what they have predicted that you will need, and then you will buy it. So for us as humans, for us as citizens, let us start embracing this. And if you are a developer in the house, even if people don't ask for it, then create it for them. You realize that they need it. They will realize that they need it, and they start living it. If you're a lecturer, if you're in the academics here, please inject the knowledge of greenery, of sustainability into the lives of the students, so that they can be able to grow and know that nature is first. I'm first, and nature is second. Okay. I really appreciate everyone. Yeah.